keep pressing to me.
Hey people, it's your girl Keep Pressing to Me here, coming to you guys with an encouraging video that will help you press towards accomplishing your goals, walking in the fullness of your purpose, and drawing closer with your relationship with God. So as you can already see with today's topic, we're kind of doing a little something different with the series titled All Things New. So for the next couple of videos, expect for us to talking about preparing ourselves, equipping ourselves, getting ourselves ready for the new thing that God is doing in our lives. So on this particular video, we're talking about overcoming self-sabotage. Yes, we're gonna really get to the nitty-gritty because we do not want to be the reason why we mishandle, we abuse, we mess up the blessings or the thing that God has in store for us. We do not want to be the reason, okay? So yes, I got my notes, so let's get into it. So what is sabotage? So I had to Google some definitions so we just really get to the nitty-gritty and break this thing down. So the first definition I want to read to you guys is Webster's definition of sabotage. It is the act of destroying or damaging something deliberately so that it does not work correctly, or an act or process tending to hamper or hurt. Another definition I had found that I thought that was very interesting is Macmillan's definition of sabotage. And it says to deliberately stop someone from achieving something or to deliberately prevent a plan or process from being successful. So when you add self-sabotage, when you add self in front of it, it's basically saying how you are to deliberately stop yourself from achieving something or to deliberately prevent yourself from a plan or process being successful. So hold up, before you get offensive or defensive, on the fence, however you want to call it, or just say like, nah, this ain't what I do, or this ain't what I'm about. Stick with me, stay with me, it's okay. Or maybe you're like, bro, I ain't never even used the word sabotage in a sentence before. That's okay as well, because there is no judgment here. I ain't really started using the word sabotage till this year, till I started therapy and started really being intentional on dealing with my mental and dealing with my spirit and dealing with things within myself, and start watching workshops and all that good stuff. So you're not alone, okay? And then secondly, when I first started hearing about sabotage, and in a way, in the sense of you can really be the person that's doing harm to yourself, or you can literally be the person that's literally being in the way from your best self, I got offensive as well. So don't think you by yourself. We're literally walking this thing out together, okay? So with that being said, I get it. I know y'all probably still like, girl, make it plain to me, honey. We already understood, like, this ain't something that I use all the time. So what does self-sabotage look like? So whenever, we must always remind ourselves that whenever there's a root, there is a fruit. So the root may be self-sabotage, but what does it really look like in our actions, in our speak, how we act, how we handle certain situations? So some of the fruits of self-sabotage can be doubt. You're not really believing. So because of your unbelief that you can, have or be or obtain whatever it is, this new thing that God has in store for you, you're doubting. So you're not even allowing yourself the opportunity to, try. That can be a hindrance. Fear can handicap you from, and really definitely hurt you because in a certain sense, your fear is paralyzing you to even do whatever it is that God is saying, or to be whatever it is, that new thing that God is trying to speak over your life. Doubt, fear, not having no vision, not being able to see beyond what you currently see within your own life. So not having the ability to look in the lenses of faith and believing like, listen, I could really see this thing coming into fruition. Lastly, is the thing that I want to be the premise of this video today, is your old mentality. The way you thought things was gonna play out, the way you wanted things to play out within your own head, the old ways, how things used to happen, and now it's not happening the way that you thought it was going to happen or how it used to happen. So now you're like, if it's not going to happen the way that it used to, it is not making sense to me. It's not going to happen. That can be a fruit of self-sabotage, especially in lieu of God preparing us and getting us ready and setting us up for some new things that he has in store for us. So yes, that last one, that old mentality, is literally the premise that I want to talk to about today. So with our focal point and our focal scripture that we're going to be, kind of pretty much dissecting within these next couple of videos, which is Isaiah 43, 19th verse. Tonight, on this particular video, I want to talk about verse 18, and it reads, "But forget all of that. It's nothing compared to what I'm going to do." So basically, just to, give a little background here, within these couple of within these verses of chapter 43, God is literally telling the Israelites, he's basically giving them his track record. He's basically saying, like, I'm the guy who was with you while you was in captivity by, the Egyptians. I am the same God that parted the Red Sea. I'm the same God that took care of you while you was in the wilderness. And he's basically telling the Israelites, forget all of that. I'm finna get ready to do a new thing. So don't compare me to what I used to do. Start just being open to the new things that I have in store for you, because that's something that I've already done in the past. Don't focus on that no more, because I'm getting ready to do something new. So when it comes down to self-sabotage, I feel like a lot of the times where we can really self-sabotage ourselves from achieving and being successful and whatever it is that we are wanting or needing, or even how we see God sometimes, is the fact that it's hard for us to overcome what once was, if that makes sense. Sometimes it's hard for us to even be open for the new thing, because we've been so accustomed to being in bondage. We've been so accustomed to not having what it is that we're praying for, to the point that we got comfortable. We got relaxed. Even though we've been praying for a thing or believing God for a thing, or even being in expectation for something new, our mentality is still old. It's still in our current state. It hasn't really caught up to whatever it is that we are believing for, or whatever it is that God is trying to, get us out of. So to make this, make a little bit more sense, because I'm feeling I'm getting a little too deep right here in this area. So prophetically, like earlier this year, I was telling like certain church members or like my friends, I kept saying, I was like repeatedly just saying, in order for God to do a new thing, it requires death to something. So I'm gonna say it again. New things requires death to something old. Meaning that whatever it is whatever that new thing is, it's replacing something else. So I had to let me get to my notes, because I want to stay grounded in this area. So I wrote down, I said, our mentalities and viewpoints as to how we vision our lives to play out can sabotage the will, the plans, the goals, basically anything and everything God wants us to do in our lives and how he wants to do it. So that's the thing that I used to say prophetically. I used to keep saying, like, new things require death to the old. So basically, if you're believing God for a spouse, you gaining that marriage is that new thing, right? But what you have to put to death is your old mentality of being a single individual. You're no longer that single person who had the freedom to do what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it. No, now you have to consult with a whole nother human being who think different than you, who probably was raised, have a different upbringing with you. You have a whole new life now. You get what I'm saying? It's like whenever you gain something, to a certain degree, you're losing something. And why I feel like God had gave me that saying prophetically is because not only for my own life, but for the lives that's who I'm connected to, God is literally like setting us up and doing new things for us, but it's going to require a new mentality. And if we're still sitting around here walking around with that old mindset to the things that God is finna get ready to bless us with, we will self-sabotage it. We will sabotage it to the point that we abuse it, misuse it, and just mistreat it because we're not even preparing ourselves mentally to even obtain that new thing that God has in store for us. So it's so important that we overcome our old mindsets and what God has said to the people in the Israelites, how God said to the Israelites in verse 18, he basically said, hey, forget all of that. Forget all of that. It's nothing compared. So God is basically saying what I've done. And he did some big stuff, like to part a whole ocean for miles. He's saying they ain't got nothing to do with what I'm about to do in the future. What I've done, I'm getting ready to do something it's gonna be new. Let's forget all that because you stuck on that, and I'm trying to catch you up to what I got going on for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? So it's so important that we be sure that we ask God to help us to change our mentalities and to be open for the new thing that he has for us. But we will have to learn how to make peace with the fact that old thing is gone. It's gone. So I want to cover some ways that I feel like it would be beneficial for us to overcome our old mentality and not allowing our old mentality to be the very thing that will cause us to self-sabotage the new thing that God has in store for us. So one of those things is, I feel like it's so important that we allow ourselves to grieve the old thing. And I feel like grieving is so important. It's because we need to allow ourselves some time to lay that thing to rest. Put whatever it is, that old mentality, maybe it's the way that you wanted to reach success, or how you thought it was going to happen, or the visions that you created for yourself. Allow yourself the ability to grieve and put that thing to rest properly. So to make that thing make sense, I can use myself for an example. I don't know if you guys have watched like some of my old videos. My most recent video, which was like my goal update, when I was talking about me not purchasing a home and God just really putting this new thing in my life that at some point we're moving to Dallas. Y'all, I had to literally lay the idea of me not having a home right now and me not having a home in Alabama. I had to put that thing to rest. Like, I had to grieve. And what that looked like for me, baby, I had to cry. I shedded some tears. You hear me? Like, I had to literally allow myself to feel the hurt and feel the disappointment, and allow myself to cry out to God and let God know, like, God, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm sad. This is a plan that I had for myself, but God, let your will be done. Nevertheless, it's your will. I believe what you have in store for me is far greater than this, but God, just hear me out. You know what I'm saying? So before you get to that point of, just thinking like, oh yeah, give me that new thing, allow yourself some time to grieve the old. And I feel like God hears us out, and he knows. Just like how it was in Joshua 1, when God had told Joshua, like, okay, stop all that mourning. Your leader, Moses, is not dead. Moses is not dead. You are now the new leader. Stop that mourning. Come on. Yes, God was telling Joshua, stop mourning. Let's go. We got something to do. He still allowed Joshua to mourn the death of Moses. You get what I'm saying? So yes, give yourself some time to grieve. And it ain't gotta be long, but express, cry, whatever, write a note, whatever that thing is that you're having to lay to rest in order for you to receive that new thing. Grieve. And once you're done grieving, I promise you, once you put that thing to rest, God will start speaking to you and giving you new perspective, and giving you some positives, and showing you some pros of the new thing that he has in store for you. But you're not going to appreciate that until you take the time to put that old thing to rest. Another thing that I think that would be very beneficial for us is we have to learn how to give God free reign, meaning that we need to give up our control and allow God to have his way over our lives, okay? And meaning that, I don't know about y'all, but I have a tendency to, if God brings something to my attention, I'm gonna take it and run with it. I'm like, okay, if God gonna tell me to do a certain thing, I'm like, all right, boom. Thank you, Lord. I'll be right back with the report. And God is like, no, fool. Like, I'm bringing this to your attention, so therefore I can walk it out with you. You're just a vessel. I'm really just telling you, so therefore I don't really, surprise you. I'm bringing this to your attention, so therefore I'm letting you know what I'm about to do through you, if that makes sense. So I think that can help us out, because sometimes that new thing that God has in store for us, it's not really, it can be something that, again, like I said earlier in the conversation, it can be something that we're righteously praying for, but the way to get to that promise may be different than what we had for within ourselves. So if it's not playing out then how we had it within our own mindset, we are going to look at it like it's something bad. But if we are walking this thing out with God and allowing God to have free reign over our lives and having control over our lives, we can get to that place where we're going to be like, God, I don't quite understand how we're doing this, how we're getting to this place of success, or how we're going to achieve this thing, but I trust you. And that's basically what I'm basically saying. Like, it's just a fancy way of saying we got to get to the place where we trust God more than we trust ourselves. Third thing, which I feel like it works hand in hand to what I've already said before, is that we got to stop putting God and even ourselves in a box. Even go back to verse 18 when God said, forget all of that. What if I have already done has no comparison for what I'm finna to do for you. We must stop placing God in a box. I feel like God has made himself very clear this year alone in 2020 that he is a God that should not, don't ever put me in a box, because you don't know what I'm finna do, okay? We gotta get out of just seeing God from doing the small stuff. Like, I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day. It's like, we got complacent of seeing God being the God that's just carrying us through day to day, to the point that yes, he's providing that daily bread, but it's gonna come a point where he's finna start like opening up windows of heaven and pouring out blessings. We gotta start seeing God as a God who bless us exceedingly and abundantly above anything that we can ask or imagine. You know what I'm saying? Like, start seeing yourself different. Stop placing yourself in a box. Stop thinking that whatever it is that you currently is or currently at can't be the person that God has showed you. Meaning that stop acting like you can't be what he promised you, or you can't obtain what you are believing God for, or you can't be the person in your family breaking the financial generational curses within your bloodline. It is possible. Start believing that you're believing God for a spouse. Start calling yourself now a wife. Start acting like a husband. You believe in God that He will open up your womb, baby. Buy some Pampers. I was watching one of my friends, like we used to work together back in the day. Real cool chick, real dope. Like I feel like a whole powerhouse. And she was doing this video on Instagram when she was saying, like, if you are believing God for a child, start doing things in faith now. Start opening up a savings account for your child. Does your child have their own room already? Decorate your child's room. Buy some Pampers. Buy a onesie. Do things in an act of faith so you can show God, like, God, I believe what you're doing. So don't put yourself in a box based off what you currently see within yourself, but step outside that box and do the unthinkable. Do the sometimes it may seem crazy. It may, feel crazy. Like, listen, doing things in faith can make you feel crazy, but how it looks to the eyes of God is rejoicing. Baby, when you start moving in faith and you start allowing God to, do His thing, like I said before, have control over your life, and you not looking at Him in a box, baby, He's rejoicing. He's like, oh, I can do this with you. I can do that with you. I can bless you with this. You wasn't even wanting this, but I'm just going to throw that in because you trust me in that area. So you got to get to that place where you stop placing yourself in a box and you stop placing God in a box, and you start opening up your horizons to the unthinkable, to the unimaginable. Like, whatever the case may be, know that it's accessible and it's something that you can reach and something that you can obtain. I feel like the last thing that I want to be something that we need to kind of like work on and be open to is to stop being complacent to the degree of thinking that what God has already done for us is enough. And hear my heart with this and know that I'm not saying this in a sense of being arrogant, but I'm saying this in a sense of understanding who we are in the eyes of God. We are descendants of Abraham. We are heirs to the throne. We are children of the Most High God. And because of that, there is an inheritance with our name on it. We are entitled to endless possibilities, blessings, breakthroughs, miracles, signs, wonders. We attach to that. And because of that, we got to get out of this mindset of feeling like what He has already done is enough, that He can't trump that, He can't top that. We serve a big God, you know what I'm saying? So we got to get to the place where we're like, you know what, God? And I'm not saying being in a place of being, selfish or feeling like you can never be satisfied. I feel like it's a difference. But we got to get to the place of thinking small, to the point that, oh, well, God, if you already done this, that's it. You there's nothing else that you can do to trump this. And it is, because we serve like I said before, we serve a big God. So to kind of make this thing make sense, if God, bless, He gave you the house, the car, or whatever it is that you are, believe Him for. And if God is, talking to you and expressing you that He's going to do something else, stop feeling bad for God wanting to continuously bless you. Does that make sense? Like, stop feeling bad for wanting more, or stop feeling bad for God to continue to open up doors for you. Don't allow condemnation or allow the small mentality that you have for yourself be the thing that will hinder you from God taking you to glory, to glory, to glory, to glory. So yeah, that's all I got, folks. So yes, I hope and pray that, with us kicking off again this series of all things new, that we must first get to the point where we, don't allow ourselves to self-sabotage the new thing that God has in store for us. And like I said before, I feel like the best way for us to overcome that is to forget the past. Forget the old things and how the old ways, that how we thought life was going to be, or what we thought things was going to play out, or who we thought was going to be with us when we reach that new thing. And start opening up our minds and allowing ourselves to obtain that new thing. And you know what your new thing is. You know what you've been praying for. You know the promises of God. And like I said before, sometimes that new thing requires the ending of the old. So make peace. Whatever the case may be. I don't know if you got to grieve, whatever case may be, do what you need to do. So you cannot allow yourself to be the thing that's hindering you, that's harming you, that's interfering you from reaching success, from obtaining whatever it is that God has in store for you. Because one thing I have come to realize about the enemy is that the enemy has no control, no authority, no access to our blessings. But what he can do is use self-sabotage as a trick to get us to the point where we abuse, that we mishandle, that we don't appreciate the new thing or the blessings that God has for us. And I don't know about you, but I do not want to be that person where I done sit around here and I've been doing all this praying and sowing and fasting and just being in expectation and fighting for hope. Trying to keep my hope alive. I'm trying to keep my faith stayed on the promises of God. And I get that thing. And he blessed me with it. And I mishandle it because of my old mentality. I mistreated because I didn't take the necessary steps to prepare myself mentally for the things that I'm praying for. That I mistreat, or I abuse, or mishandle, and all the other words of basically saying I screwed up the blessing because I didn't do the necessary work to do what it is to be sure that I keep the blessing. That I preserve it. And I walk in that thing the way God called me to. You get what I'm saying? So yes, we got some work to do. And I'm sorry if y'all thought that this video is gonna be all real cute, like, yes, God finna do a new thing. He finna do a new thing, finna walk in it, I receive it. Yeah, no. In order for us to get to that place, man, we gotta deal with that old mentality. So we got some homework to do. I want you to really take some time out to think about your ways, your mindset. What are some things within yourself? What are some of the fruits of self-sabotage that is hindering you from you being the best person that God wants you to be? From you obtaining success, for you achieving and accomplishing whatever it is that God has spoken over your life, or whatever it is. What is it that's hindering yourself? Because again, we refuse to allow ourselves to be the reason why we mishandle the new thing that God has in store for us. So I want to close this out with prayer. Father God, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for giving us the opportunity and the time before the new thing comes to change our mindsets. God, even before the new thing happened, God, start doing the thing within our hearts now. Prepare us, Lord. Show us the people who we need to leave now. Show us the ways and means that we, however preparation looks like for us in our own individual lives, God. Make it plain. Maybe we need to lay the rest of our old, the plans that we had and the time frames that we made for ourselves. Maybe we need to, stop putting you in a box, Lord. Maybe we need to allow to surrender our will and fully have trust in yours. Whatever the case may be, God, you know what my brother and what my sister is standing in need of and what they need in this time, God. So, God, I ask that you have your way. Speak to them. Speak to us, that we're able to hear you clearly and know whatever it is that's hindering ourselves from reaching our best selves. Let it be done. God, I denounce every attack from the enemy that's trying to destroy, to steal, to kill, whatever it is that you have in store for us. He has no authority. He is not even that smart. So God, help us, Lord. Help us to walk this thing out with you, and to trust and believe that as long as we got breath in our body, that we have the ability to have that new thing. Whatever that new thing looks like. We trust you and we believe you. And even now we say thank you in advance. We rejoice even now. We glorify you even now. Because we know that your word will not return to you void. So again, God, have your way with our hearts. Have your way with our mentalities. And help us to prepare ourselves for the new thing. In Jesus' name I pray. Well, folks, I hope and pray that this blessed you in some form or fashion. And tune in to next week as we continue to talk and decipher and rejoice over the new thing, all things new that God has in store for us. I be forgetting to say this, but don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Share this with a person who you feel like this message will be beneficial to. Comment. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what it is, whatever it is that's on your heart as it pertains to this new thing. What are some things that you're believing that God is preparing you for? Or, what are some new things that you feel like God is getting ready to bless you with? I want to pray for you. I want to, cheer you on, and again, be in prayer for you. Like, comment, subscribe, and till next time. But in the meantime, we got this. Because God got us. Keep pressing.